All right.
Thank you so much. All right. Greetings, veterans and family members. My name is Brother James Lovejoy of Omega Sci-Fi Incorporated, and I am the military affairs for the state of Alabama, the great state of Alabama. I'm a retired Army veteran of 20 years, 10 months, and 18 days. And as I always say, who's counting? I just want to make sure they get that count right where I can get all my disability and all my retirement funds. But again, thank you all for being here. You could be any other place. This is the place that you chose to be at, and we want to make sure it's worthwhile. And having said that, I yield my time back to you, there, Brother Cunningham.
Thank you, Brother Lovejoy. Thank you for hosting or co-hosting this call each and every week. For the last, what week are we in? I think we're in week
30, what's that, 36?
week 36. So the last 36 weeks that we've hosted this call. And so I want to thank you for your continued support. Next, we're going to go to the state of Georgia. I struggle with all this great state. You know, I'm in the wonderful state of Florida. But let's go ahead and move on. I don't know what Georgia called themselves, but Georgia, Brother Thrower, you have the floor.
Hey, greetings to everyone. I am Wesley Thrower from the Georgia State Organization Military Affairs. I'm proud to be here. I'm happy to be here. I am thrilled of the work that this Zoom call has accomplished over the last 36 weeks, starting with the first summit that happened a few months earlier before that, spearheaded and started by our good brother, Rod Cunningham. Truly appreciate it, appreciate the fellowship. I would ask everybody to remember this: you pay for what you get. So if you want to get the most out of this, ask questions, put your input in, and be engaged. Hopefully, do want to make an announcement. We have our first undergraduate military affairs reps in Omega Sci-Fi. We got picked 2 this last week. They're supposed to have class today, but they're going to try to, if they get out in time, to try to come on and introduce themselves. So I'm looking forward to getting support to them. We have a lot of veterans as well as ROTC candidates in school right now. And we want to get them involved to help them become the next Brigadier General Young winners, as well as ensure that the ones that are in there, as they separate while they're in school or before they get out of school, get the benefits that they're entitled to. So thank God for that opportunity this week. And I give my time back to you, Brother Chair.
All right, there, Brother Thrower. Thank you so much for all that you do for military affairs, as well as the continent of Africa, as you travel over to our Omega Sci-Fi chapter in Africa to bring computers and laptops and boreholes and all the things that you do back and forth from Georgia to Africa, representing Omega Sci-Fi fraternity. So yes, we do have a chapter in Africa. All right. So with that, do we have any other military affairs personnel on the line, or any representative from the Grand Office? Anyone? International Office? Nope. All right. With that, Brother Lovejoy, who's bringing the word today?
I'm not sure if he's on. Let me make sure. Brother Harold, are you online? You might be on Zoom. I want to make sure before I give this.
He's trying to use that backdrop. You think he's still in Clay?
Yeah, I'm on. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah,
all right.
I had to go out to my vehicle because I'm at headquarters today, and we can't use Zoom in the building because of the security. But I'm here, and I'm ready, and hopefully I'm able.
All right, then. Let me go ahead and give us a quick introduction here of Brother Minister Dwayne Harrell. He's known to many, and for the few that don't know him, you will get to know him here within this next 10 or 15 minutes. I'm so grateful that he had the opportunity to get away from the building to come out here and bless us. Brother Dwayne Harrell, Minister Dwayne Harrell, is out of the second district. And if many don't know, the second district encompasses 5 states. That's Maryland, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. And he was chosen as a second district chaplain, the lead chaplain from 2016 to 2020. He's a retired Air Force veteran. So it's truly a pleasure. This man has traveled the world. He's an author, a speaker, and definitely he's married and has 4 grandchildren. I have 4 grandchildren, so I know that is a house, not a hassle, but that's a joy. It's a hassle trying to keep up with them. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Brother Minister Wayne Harold. I give my time to you, Harold.
God bless you. To each and every one that's on this call today, I'm profusely humbled to have been asked to be a part. I need thee, oh, I need thee every hour. I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I'll come to thee. I need thee, oh, I need thee every hour. I need thee. Oh, bless me ye now, my Savior. I'll come to thee. Heavenly Father, great head of the church, author and finisher of our faith. Is us, O Lord, standing in the need of prayer. And I ask that you be on the increase so that I'll be on the decrease, so that some man, woman, boy, or girl may ask the question, what must I do to be saved? Special prayer for the soldier, sailor, airman, and marine, and even Coast Guard that may find themselves in harm's way, even as we pray. It's in the precious name of your darling son, Jesus, the one that came down through 42 generations, hung on the cross and died, and early Sunday morning rose with all power in his hand. We pray, amen. If you pray with me, my brothers and my sisters, as usual, I promise to do for you what Elizabeth Taylor did for her 8th husband, and that is, I won't keep you long. The scriptures is coming from 2 Timothy, the 4th chapter, verses 6 through 8. 2 Timothy, the 4th chapter, verses 6 through 8. I want to read for your hearing the King James Version. For I am now ready to be offered, and the time of my departure is at hand. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Therefore, there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day. And not to me only, but unto all of them also that love his appearing. Can I talk to you just for a little while on this short lunchtime break on an effective Christian? Would that be all right? If I could sum this sermon up in a single sentence, I would simply say that the text teaches us that the Bible is full of words of wisdom and uplift for us to make it. You know the drill if you've heard me preach before, 3 questions and 3 answers, and then I'll get out your way. The first question is, what are the attributes of a Christian? What are the elements? If I was to ask that question now to you, my brothers and my dear sisters that are under the sound of my voice, I'm sure that I would hear many things. Some would say love, some would say joy, some would say peace, some would say faith, but I wonder would anyone give the attribute of the word effective? You see, the word effective is found only a few times in the Holy Bible. For example, the Bible says that the effectual fervent prayers of the righteous availeth much. But even though the word effective is found only a few times in the Bible, I believe that in order for us to be all that God has called us to be, we need to be effective. We may not see the word effective but a few times in the Holy Writ physically, but effectiveness is displayed throughout the Bible. But don't take my word for it. When you get a chance to look at the pericope yourself, you will find that effectiveness is displayed through and through. Abraham was an effective father of the faith. Moses was an effective emancipator of the people. Joshua was an effective warrior. David was an effective king. Elijah was an effective prophet. James, Peter, and John were effective disciples. Jesus was an effective savior and is an effective Lord. My brothers and my sisters, you might not see it physically, but a few times in the Bible, but it's displayed through and through. The second question is, who was another effective Christian in the Bible? Well, I'm glad you asked. I challenge you to take a look at the Apostle Paul. If you would take a look at the second 2/3 of the book of Acts, 1st and 2nd Corinthians, the book of Ephesians, 1st and 2nd Timothy, the book of Titus, just to name a few, you would find that Brother Paul was truly an effective Christian man. What was it that separated Brother Paul from the folk he hung out with? Brother Paul spoke 13 different languages and 7 of them fluently, but that was not the thing that separated him from everyone else. He had friends in high places. However, that was not even the common denominator to his success. Paul had matriculated through some of the best agencies of higher learning, but that was not the key. The reason that Brother Paul was so effective is found in today's text. And the third question, lest I forget, is what was the key to his effectiveness? Brother Paul says that I fought a good fight. I finished my course and I kept the faith. 3 short declarative statements sum up the reason for Brother Paul's effectiveness. I want to highlight the first reason. Brother Paul said, I was effective because I fought a good fight. Can I be straight up with you? The first time I read that, it kind of puzzled me. It kind of bothered me. It had me scratching my head and staying up at night. I said, how in the world can Brother Paul say on the one hand that he fought a good fight, but when other portions of his Bible teachings to be a bishop, he says, thou shalt not be a striker? Well, there are 2 different Greek words being used there. When Brother Paul said, when he said he fought a good fight, another definition of that would be the Greek translation of a brawler, one who fights haphazardly, one who is out of control. Brother Paul said you ought not be like that. The translation being used in our text today is like a boxer in a contest. Brother Paul was under the control of his coach. Brother Paul, under the control of Jesus Christ, knew when to symbolically circle left and circle right and throw a haymaker if need be. We all find ourselves on different courses that we have to take. Some of us don't like our courses, but God has designed those courses particularly for us. Brother Paul says, secondly, that not only did he fight a good fight, he finished his course. And when Brother Paul says that he finished his course, he was only emulating Jesus. Am I right about it? You remember when Christ was on the cross and he said, it is finished. He didn't mean that he was finished. He just meant that he didn't do everything that the world wanted him to do, but everything that God had assigned him to do, it was in fact finished. I wish I had time to go through all 3 of the declarative statements, but I was just about finished reading and studying and praying when I continued to the next verse. And I read the word therefore. Some of the Bibles say henceforth. Therefore, or henceforth, there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day. And not only for me only, but unto all of them also that love his appearing. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't an English major, but I am convinced of the fact that anything that comes before the therefore, anything that comes before the henceforth is the reason for what comes after. Because Brother Paul fought a good fight. Because Brother Paul followed and finished his course. Because he kept the faith. Therefore, You see, there's laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me and you at that day. And not for me only, but unto all of them also that love is appearing. If you don't remember anything that I've said, remember that in order to be an effective Christian, we need to be bridge builders. We need to allow ourselves to be looked through out of the eyes of God. Can I throw in something for free? Be careful how you entertain strangers, because God may be looking through their eyes. And as you walk and talk, where you live, work, pray, and play, remember to always give that good counsel as if God is looking through your eyes. Well, brother preacher, what would God say if he was looking through my eyes? He would say, you said you couldn't read, and I showed you Floyd Mayweather and Fantasia. You said you were homeless, and I showed you Tyler Perry and Tiffany Haddish. You said you thought you couldn't get past a dark place, and I showed you Jennifer Hudson. You said you were nothing but a drug addict, and I showed you Samuel L. Jackson. You said your appearance would hinder your opportunities, and I showed you Lizzo. You said you were molested, and I showed you Oprah Winfrey. You said nobody could beat cancer, and I showed you Robin Roberts. You said life was over because you were HIV positive, and I showed you Magic Johnson. You said the odds were against you because you were adopted, and I showed you Nelson Mandela. You said you weren't strong enough to persevere, and I showed you Chadwick Boseman. You said you couldn't leave the streets, and I showed you Jay-Z. Am I right about it? You said that you were cheated on, and it crushed you, and I showed you Beyonce. You said your father wasn't around, and your mom struggled, and I showed you LeBron James. You said mixed kids never really fit in, and I showed you the person of Barack Hussein Obama. You said you were too old and your time was up, and I showed you Tiger Woods. You said that you should give up after losing the biggest opportunity of your life, and I showed you Stacey Abrams. And am I right about it? You said you grew up in a public housing, and I showed you Raphael Warnick. You said no one would listen because of your speech impediment, and I showed you Amanda Gorman. You said no woman has ever risen that far, and I showed you Kamala Harris. All I'm trying to say as I hasten to a close of this little one-horse sermon sitting in my Nissan is that you got to be effective by holding on to the unchanging hand of Jesus the Christ. I'm talking about Jesus, that lily of the valley. Jesus, that bright and morning star. Jesus, Mary's baby. Jesus, a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. Jesus, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. As we go forward from this point on, remember to strive to be effective Christians by fighting a good fight, following and finishing your course. And most importantly, my brothers and my dear sisters, keep the faith. I yield back to the moderator. Thank you for having me.
Amen, amen, amen. My brother, that was effective, truly effective. Thank you so much for bringing that word. What do you say about that, Brother Els? I know that, was that effective or what?
That was an effective word. That was in fact, that was an effective rhema word. That was a rhema word from on high for such a time as this. Thank you for that word.
Thank you so much, there, my brother. Brother Harold, I know you're at, you know what? The lunchtime has definitely been fed for me. I mean, I am so pumped. I appreciate you stepping outside of the control area. They can't contain that. When God's word is ready, it's international. And you brought an international effective word. Thank you so much for that word there, my brother.
Amen, amen, amen.
Brother Cunningham, was that effective or what?
Man, that's one of the most powerful 10-minute words I probably ever heard.
Look at you, a poet before you know it. Go ahead. Thanks again, my brother.
He bring that word in 10 minutes.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
just wondering if I'm driving by him while he's preaching and I'm looking in the car, I'm like, woo, he doing something in there.
What? He bringing that, hey, he bringing that PHI. He bringing that fire.
Exactly. So Brother Harold, thank you once again for gracing us with your wonderful, powerful word that came straight from God. So we appreciate you on that. All right, so we are right on time. It's 12:23, and it's time to introduce our first panelist, and that would be Mr. Dwayne Kimball. Mr. Dwayne Kimball is our subject matter expert on VA disability and claims. And so we want to thank him. He's been with us, for the last 7 months that we've been doing this. And I want to let him know that we appreciate him. Again, most of us on here are from Omega Psi Phi fraternity. He happens to be from the blue and white. I think it's called Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. So, Mr. Kimball, the floor is yours, sir. Give us an introduction on what you do, and then we'll open it up for questions.
And Rod, and Mr. Kimball and Rod, just want y'all to know, I'm sorry to interject, but we do have one other brother. This guy, he's not a brother, but Eugene Scott. He's from a group of veterans that I meet with every Monday. I told him about you all. I told him about Brother Kimball. I told him about Brother Wagner, and he is on right now. He is Eugene Scott. He is the founder of the African American Club in West Pasco. I just wanted to make that announcement there.
All right, thank you there, Dr. L. Mr. Kimball, you have the floor.
Yes, Rod, you are correct, but you left out something. I am a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, the greatest fraternity in the whole wide world. Okay, so with that being said, I'm glad to clarify that for you. My name is Dwayne Kimball, owner and founder of KMD 89 VA Claims Consultant, Leave No Vet Behind. I educate veterans on the VA disability compensation claims process so they may be able to maximize their benefits through compensation, enhance their knowledge, and alleviate frustration. I am a prior rating specialist journeyman. And what that means is every 2 years, rating specialists or adjudicators had to get tested to test their knowledge, but it wasn't so much to test their knowledge, but to understand that we could find where to go and find the information, interpret it as to the claims that we were adjudicating. Okay, so since then, I've retired from the VA. All my training is done through the Department of Veterans Affairs over that period of time. So I'm glad to participate in these weekly events. I look forward to them, and thank you for having me.
All right, so with that, we're going to open the floor up to questions for Mr. Kimball. Any questions that you have as it relates to getting your VA disability? If you're 30% and you're trying to get to 80% or 100%, this is your opportunity to ask your question. So the floor is open to questions for Mr. Kimball. He will be open for 10 minutes and then we'll go to the next person. So we have
Eugene Scott.
Hold on. We got a hand up. Anthony Kelly Brooks. The floor is open for you.
Hi, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hello, good afternoon.
First off, I just want to commend. I'm speaking on behalf of my husband, Anthony. He's actually at work. He's the veteran. He asked me to listen in to take notes for him. And also, I just wanted to commend you guys for the way you're running this call, to listen and hear the first 23 minutes, pretty much dedicated to God and giving him glory and giving a message and a sermonette and a prayer that's wonderful. Second question is, or main question, he's getting his disability at about 10%. So I think he would want to know, is there any way of that being increased?
All right, Mr. Kimball.
Yes, on my YouTube channel, I have over 150 videos where I'm talking about different topics as it pertains to the disability compensation claims process. And what those videos are talking about the 5 ways of service connection, because there's 5 different ways you can obtain service connection. So whatever branch he served in, one, I would ask, do we have a copy of his VA claims file, which would include his medical records from service? Because those are things that you can claim directly due to service. And if you get service connected, it will increase that 10%. What is he 10% for? Are there any secondary conditions? If he was in the military, if he's in the Army or any branch, and he was awarded the parachute badge, he could claim certain things due to being awarded the parachute badge due to jumps that he did. So it just is, the question is not hard to answer, but there's more information that will be needed. One, to see where he's at, what he did in the during his active duty time, and we know where he's trying to go 10% or higher, and then what is the path of least resistance. But understanding what he can claim, and then how he can claim it as it pertains to the 5 ways of service connection. But it is a potential to get an increase. It's just what is he going to claim, and how is it related to military service, and then what evidence may be required to do so.
So, Mr. Kimball, can you go ahead and put your information and your YouTube channel in the chat, so that if anybody wants to reach out to you? Are you open to accepting phone calls from multiple people to ask questions directly?
Yeah, so on my website, you can schedule a free 15-minute consultation, discuss the educational services I provide. Then I get a little bit more information on your military service, where you're currently at in the process, and where you're trying to go. And that will determine the type of educational service that I can provide. But I'll put that information in the chat.
Thank you for that. And Ms. Kelly, just as an example, let's say that your husband has 10% or 30% for flat feet. Mr. Kimball mentioned secondary conditions. So let's say he already has been rated for flat feet 15 years ago, but then he had knee surgery last year. So that will be a secondary condition to flat feet, is the fact that his knees he needed surgery on his knees. So now he can put in a new claim, even though he's been out 15 or 20 years, he can put in a new claim for his knees based on the secondary conditions of having flat feet. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you very much. And thanks for also providing Mr. Kimball's information. Thank you. He'll probably be reaching out. He did want to speak to someone one-on-one.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Ms. Kelly, for joining us today. James, I see your hand is up.
Yes, excuse me. My name is James McMorris. Of course, see Brother Lovejoy there. How you doing, Brother Lovejoy?
Doing well. Welcome, my brother. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you,
Good to
man.
see
I'm still going through this COVID-19 thing, man. From the clave, I'm getting through that surely, but slowly, of course. But I'm moving forward with this. So thank God I had my shots. So I'm working from home today, and I decided I'd go plug into the meeting here to see how to get some information in reference to me filing my claim. Of course, I'm a U.S. Coast Guard veteran from 1980 during the Carter administration. I did not file for any type of VA benefits, of course, because I didn't feel as though I was worthy of anything until I got older. I'm 65 years old now. Now, the reason I'm calling is that my wife, she's a 100% veteran, disabled veteran with the U.S. Air Force, and I just got getting a little older. On my ship, the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Dwayne, out of Portland, Maine. That ship had asbestos on it. And of course, that was an old ship. Of course, I can remember them coming in and removing the asbestos. And I've been suffering a little bit from snoring. My breathing was kind of, as I gotten older. And I can remember also being on ship duty and getting something, some material was it was actually plugged as when I was working on the ships, a piece of metal came into my eye. So we had to take it out from a laser. Now I'm also getting this thing in my eye where it's to get this pain. I think I'm not sure I'm not sure what Graves' disease is, but sometimes my eye will hurt so bad I have to close it just to stop it from actually, I guess, for the pain. And I'm not sure that could be from that particular incident back then, because I was young then, of course, but I'm a little older now. So I'm trying to see how I can file a claim myself moving forward, and how would that fit with me, and how would I go about it?
So you're talking about two different things. Are you talking about the eye and the asbestos?
Yeah, the asbestos was a part of the was a ship because it's an older ship. When I was, of course, I was young then, so I've gotten older now, so I'm feeling some remnants from that. But the eye thing was doing dry dock, and we were doing some ship duty work at the time, and of course, a piece of metal chipped into my eye, and we had to remove it from laser. And I guess I have to figure out whether or not is the reason why my eye is hurting now. It could be from that issue back then, or what. I'm not even sure. So I guess I have to pull my medical records as well, just to take a look at it and see whether or not that is something that could be a purpose for some type of disability.
Right. So that would fall under what they call direct service connection. And for direct service connection, you need three elements: a current diagnosis, a link in service, meaning there's documented treatment, and then a nexus. So when you file that, when you submit that claim to the VA, let's say an eye condition, that VSR or RVSR is going to go to your medical records. They're going to look through it, and they're going to look for treatment, complaint, diagnosis, injury, or disease and service as it pertains to that eye. And if it is, they should schedule a CMP exam. And at that CMP exam, that's where you have to explain to the examiner, hey, this is what's going on with my eye, and I think it's due to this piece of metal, just like you told us that got in your eye during that time. And then they make a decision. Either they give a negative opinion. If they give a negative opinion, they're going to deny the claim, or a positive opinion, and then they grant the claim, and then will be based off the residuals of that eye, probably visual acuity or visual impairment or something like that, and maybe some other residuals. Now, as it pertains to asbestos, I used to work a lot of those claims, and the VA gave us a link to a list of ships that had asbestosis, and we would look in your medical records to see, okay, whatever ship that you named, if you gave them the name, if that ship was on there. But you're going to need some type of diagnosis, whether it's COPD, emphysema, or something like that. And once we would complete that development, then you go to the CMP exam. So we had a list of ships, and it was an internal document that central office out of Baltimore gave us to look at, say, okay, if this service member served on one of these ships, then concede exposure to asbestosis.
Okay, thank you very much. This ship was built back in 1936.
Right.
So yeah, it was loaded with asbestos.
If I can assist you, Mr. Kimball. So I am retired Navy, as well as my brother Green on here. I was also exposed to asbestos, but during that time, we also got a letter for our ships and other ships we worked on. It's easy to get that letter. One of the things you can do, and actually Miss Newsom up here had me do this a few years ago. I went back, I had a letter already stating that, but there's also that you can do like an affidavit of saying that, hey, you served on these ships and that you were exposed, and there's other people who can verify that that was accepted along with my claim. But we already know that every ship, most ships prior to 1970, anything ever built had asbestos, because we spent the late 80s and the early 90s removing them. And because I was a new just out of boot camp, I was one of them sailors that was out there removing asbestos. So there's documentation all over the place to get copies of that. I'm actually looking it up right now, the copy that's in my record, and I will send it to you. I do have your wife's email. She emailed me the other day for another reason, and I will get that to you.
And I don't know why the VA doesn't do it that way. Just say, hey, any ship from this time period back had asbestosis. And I think they're just throwing a curveball to make the vet do maybe a little bit more work. But it makes sense. And again, I know when I went through that particular training, they was like, this is a list, and it's always it's like over 100 ships on there. So once they look at that, but again, it should just be something simple. You know, if a member served on a ship, you know, from this date back, then just go ahead and concede the exposure.
All right, thank you very much for that. We have 2 more minutes for Mr. Scott's question. Mr. Scott, you have the floor.
Yes, I was in the Army. I was the Smalls Armor Repairman. That was my MOS, supply/armor. I was in a transportation unit, so most of the guys were on the road, you know, traveling. So I was responsible for taking weapons out, you know, making sure they were, you know, they needed, the CEO told me they needed to be fired once every 3 months or whatever. So I would take them out, fire them, and I'd get the ringing in the ear. Never thought about it. Would take out when a new weapon came in, I had to take it out for, you know, to make sure it worked, the M60 machine gun. And during that time, you know, I'll be honest with you, I never even heard of earplugs. But now I have the ringing. I've had it for so long till I started thinking about it. When I would go out and fire the weapons, I'd get it temporarily and it would go away. And I went to the VA, you know, reported it. They checked my hearing, and then they said no, that I wasn't entitled to any compensation. Is that the end of it? Do I have any recourse?
Well, when I heard you say VA, the VA, you have the VHA side and the VBA side benefits. Well, we're talking about the benefit side. If you go to the hospital and they say, you know, you got normal hearing, that's the hospital. But when you file, if you actually filed a claim for tinnitus, those are 2 separate claims, hearing loss and tinnitus. You can file a claim of tinnitus by itself if you want. But understand, how do you reasonably articulate your symptomology as pertains to you being exposed to acoustic trauma? You just did that. So when I went into my exam for tinnitus, I told the examiner, hey, every Tuesday morning in the Army, what were we doing? Pulling PMCS down the motor pool, checking 15K generators, deuce and a half, 5-ton vehicles, 577 command post carriers, Humvees, and you're listening to the engine. You don't have earring plugs in, so you're being exposed to acoustic trauma. When you go to the gun range, okay, you work with a transportation unit. Every time they went out, field maneuvers or taking vehicles out, you were probably in one of the vehicles. So you just explained when you went out to the gun range and you was firing without hearing protection, you go deaf and then you hear this loud ringing. You do that over a certain amount of time, now you may have developed constant ringing in the ears. My ears are ringing right now. I may not hear it when I'm listening to music in my car because the music is drowning out. Same way with watching TV. So at night, I have to go to sleep with the TV on with the volume a little bit up just to drown out that noise to go to sleep. Because if I'm in a room and it's quiet, then that ringing is like just banging in my ears and I can't go to sleep. And that's the way I explained it on my CMP exam, and I actually won. So tinnitus is probably one of the, I think, is one of the easiest claims to win. But again, if you previously filed a claim for tinnitus and was denied, first question I ask people that call me, do you have a copy of that CMP exam? If you got denied, do you have a copy of the rating decision? And then if you want to refile, you need new and relevant evidence. New evidence is evidence that they did not previously see when they adjudicated that claim. Relevant evidence is relevant to the condition that you're reopening, and then that would have to go in with a VA form 20-0995, and that would be what they call a supplemental claim.
Okay.
All
so
right.
how would I go about reclaiming my or refiling my claim?
Okay, you need a VA form 20-0995. That's a supplemental claim. And then you need new and relevant evidence. So if you were armor, I would say the example wording would be, I am reopening my claim for tinnitus that was previously denied in rating decision, whatever that is. I'm claiming tinnitus due to my MOS as an armorer. On several occasions while in the military, I was exposed to acoustic trauma. And then you can give some examples, but you're going to need that new and relevant evidence to go along with that 0995.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
All
Short,
right. Thank you very
direct, to the
much.
point.
All right, so we have, I guess we had a hand up, but it went down. So we're gonna go ahead then and move up. It went back up. Deontay Williams, you have the floor.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Deontay Williams, across here, Georgia Southern. I'm part of the best fraternity, the only fraternity, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. And I had a question. So basically, I'm going through the process of, I guess, med boarding through the National Guard. I have a rating right now. I'm at a 60% rating, and I guess I'm going through to complete it, but that's the one they granted me because I haven't got my sleep test yet. So I guess what do I need to do from here to get, I guess, the 100% rating?
One, I would say it's a letter that you can get from the National Call Center. If you call 800-827-1000, and that letter is called a disability breakdown letter to include the diagnostic codes. So
Yes, sir.
you need to see where you're at right now. And so that letter would have everything that your service connected for, the percentage, and the 4-digit code. Once you have that 4-digit code, you can look to say, oh, I'm 0% for migraines, just as an example. When you look up that code, which is diagnostic code 8100, it'll give you the criteria for the 0%, 10%, 30%, and 50%. And if you feel you meet the 50%, then that would be a claim for increase. And you already know what that criteria is. So when you go to that exam, you'll know, hey, I'm having very completely prostrating attacks, severe of economic inadaptability. That's verbatim for the 50% criteria. Now, let's just say you're service connected for PTSD and you're taking some pills, and that may cause you to have migraines, where you're not claiming migraine secondary to PTSD, you're claiming migraine secondary to the medication that has been prescribed for your service-connected PTSD. So that wording is key. So there could be some possible increases and there could be some possible secondaries. And then think about when you went on active duty, things that you were treated for, you complained about, diagnosed with, injuries or diseases, and those things that you can claim and possibly get service connected. So if you start getting approved for all that, then you should see that 60% go up to 70, 80, 90, and possibly 100. But if you're 60, figuring out where you're at right now, okay, like I just said with that letter, and then getting it to see, okay, do I warrant any increases? Are there any common complications for secondary conditions, for things that I'm service connected for? And then, do you fall under any pre-service aggravation or presumptive? And do you have a copy of your medical records active?
Yes, sir. So,
Brother Williams, we're going to have to move on. So if you could, he has his information in the chat box for you to reach out. He offers a 15-minute free consultation. So you're welcome to reach out to him. And then I'm getting ready to bring up Brother Wagner next. And he also can help you if you want to reach out to him. So at this time, thank you very much, Mr. Kimball, for all your wonderful knowledge. At this time, we're going to bring up our next panelist. His name is Brother Lamar Wagner out of Georgia/Alabama. He's right there on the line over there. He is going to talk about VA entitlements for spouse and children, right? So we talked about, what we get, but what do our spouses get when something happens to us, or even while we're still serving, or while we're still receiving our VA benefits. So Brother Wagner, floor is yours.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Let me start off by thanking the panel and the platform for what they do constantly to assist our veterans and surviving spouse on their compensation, pension, and their education criteria. My name is Lamar Wagner. I'm a DAV service officer where we assist veterans with their compensation and pension and surviving spouse. Before I forget, the Senate just approved on last night certain criteria, presumptions for Vietnam veterans and Gulf War veterans. Right now, if you know of any Vietnam veteran that was diagnosed in the past for hypertension, that's an easy one. The only thing that veteran needs to do is do a 0995 and attach his DD-214 showing that he was denied for hypertension. Okay, I need to get that out now because there are certain presumptions that a lot of Vietnam veterans was denied on that they can go back and get approved for that. Again, like Ron said, I'm also a service officer. I volunteer my time. I'm here to assist, give any knowledge based on this platform and understanding for any surviving spouse that has to do with education, voc rehab, helping veterans build onto their home, or anything of that nature. What I'm gonna do, Ron, I'm just gonna open it up for any questions because I yield my time. Thank you. Hey, Brother Hassan, I see you, 70.
All right, thank you there, Brother Wagner. And so if you're a spouse and you have questions about some of your benefits or future benefits, if you want to talk about educational benefits that you get, talk about, the benefits once you reach 100%. I currently save $7,000 a month on my home because of my 100% here in Florida. And so there's so many benefits that we get. I get free parking at the airport and things of that nature. So there's so many benefits that we get. If you have any questions, here's your opportunity to ask that question now to Brother Wagner. So any questions?
I have a question. This is
Yes, Ms. Keller.
is there a place where you can go to find out how to locate all of those benefits? Is there a specific place, like a kind of a one-stop shop?
Ma'am, at the federal level, you can go to va.gov. At the federal level, you can type in va.gov, and only you can Google it, va.gov benefits. That'll show you everything that you would qualify for. At the state level, it's the same, VA benefits for the state.
Okay.
But when you're talking about entitlements, and we can't get this confused because when you're talking about DIC, the dependency, intimacy, compensation is when a veteran passed away from a service-connected condition, his wife is entitled to the DIC for the remaining of her life as long as she don't remarry. If the veteran passed away from a non-service connected condition, then the surviving spouse is only entitled to a $600 burial.
Okay.
I just pulled up the regulation on yesterday. It's very confusing. If a veteran is 100%, if a veteran is 100%, 10 years of being 100%, it does not matter how the veteran passed, the surviving spouse is automatically granted DIC. And
what is that amount?
1472. They just got an increase. It's 1472.34, something like that, each
Per
month.
month.
Yes. If a veteran after 9/11 only have to be grandfathered for 5 years. And it does not matter how that veteran passed away, the spouse is still entitled to DIC. When you look at, even though the veteran has passed, based upon the eligibility, that surviving spouse or dependents are still eligible for all the requirements, i.e. tuition for universities. And then each state have their own entitlements. So you would just have to look up, go through Google, type in VA disabilities for that state.
All right. Any other questions? I saw a hand up, but then it went down. Any questions for Brother Wagner? Keep in mind that he is a veteran services officer for disabled American veterans. He is a volunteer. Mr. Kimball does charge for his services, and Brother Wagner does not charge, but you can imagine that Brother Wagner is always busy because he does not charge. So I'll let you kind of figure those two out. So James, you have the floor.
Yes, yes. My name is James McMorris. I'm, of course, a brother from Omega Psi Phi brother, 1976 E Square. Question in reference to housing. I see a lot of signs out here on the street says apply for VA loan, 0 down, blah blah blah. What information that I can receive in reference to VA housing?
That's from my uncle. Hey, sir, when you're talking about VA housing or VA loans, because when you're there, I mean, VA housing, VA loans, you only have to go into you can go into your e-benefit, you can Google VA loans, but only in order to qualify, you just need to go into your e-benefits. If you have not done so, upload your DD-214, and you have to get what they call a COE, which is a
certificate of eligibility.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. Certificate of eligibility. And once you get that, you just have to take that to any mortgage company or any bank, and that just guaranteeing them that you qualify for a VA loan where you don't have to pay closing. Now, interest has nothing to do. Interest has nothing to do with the eligibility. You just take that certificate of eligibility to any bank or anywhere, and the only thing they're going to do is pre-approve you for a loan for a home, and you don't have to pay closing.
And what you have to remember too is that there is a maximum. So
not anymore, Ron.
In Florida,
not anymore.
They recently took it away?
Yeah, no max. You can no max on VA loans.
Man, when I got my house 2 years ago, I had to pay an extra
that was 2 years ago.
I was over the threshold.
You can work it where you can put, I got rental properties. You can put a couple of your rental properties on your VA loan once you know how to work it.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's 3 houses on VA right now.
Wesley, ain't nobody asked you nothing.
Okay, now I'm learning something. Okay, all right.
Well, the thing about it, Mr. Cunningham, you know, you on the platform, you try to think you know a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
But it is a little bit.
My dad told me at the end of the day, when you jump in like that, you better watch, you might get bitten. But yeah, hey, there is no limit on VA loans anymore, Ron. Seriously. Yeah. And it's been about 2 years since VA approved that.
Yes.
Good stuff, brother. Good stuff. Appreciate that. Now I've already paid off one of my because I do have the certificate. My first house, my first marriage, of course, after I divorced, of course, we settled on that and paid off my VA loan before, and then they gave me my certificate back. So, you know, right now I'm looking to maybe buy another piece of property. So, so I'll use that. There's no limit. As far as qualifications, is there qualifications involved?
No, as long as you retire in honorable discharge, and I mean, you already been pre-approved. I mean, you already used your COE. So the only thing you need to do is go to a bank and tell them you're looking for a home, and they're gonna do that pre-approval paperwork, and you can start looking. Once you fill out the paperwork for the loan.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you, Brother James. Brother Hassan, the floor is open.
Hey, good morning, everyone. And let me do a caveat before I say this, because I know my good brother Wagner might think I'm trying to troubleshoot him. But just yesterday, I was researching because I was trying to find out what I need to do to be pre-approved for burial at a national cemetery. And of course, I got that filled out, put the form in the mail yesterday, sent it to St. Louis. But I also came across that contrary to what we had been hearing, that a veteran who's 100% after 10 years, it doesn't matter. But I came across 8 years, and I'm like, I thought they said 10, but it was 8. But if I heard you correctly, Brother Wagner, now you're saying it's 5. Is that correct?
Let me, Brother Hassan, I love, you Kappa Beta, that's pain, where you bring the pain.
Gamma Beta.
So, I gotta always mess with you. But I'm gonna send you the link. I only go by CFR 38 and all the VA requirements. Okay, I just looked at it on yesterday, and it literally says prior to 9/11, again, before post 9/11, and it literally says 100% permanent and total up to 10 years, the spouse is going to receive DIC. Anything after that is 5 years. I will send you the link. Matter of fact, I looked at it the same time when VA sent out the new requirements for Agent Orange and for the Gulf War Syndrome. So I'll send that to you. And I will say this, Brother Hassan, and you're a smart, educated. If everybody don't know, Brother Hassan, he recently retired, but he used to be a high school principal. And he used to make me come over there and eat chicken every Thursday. But Hassan, I'm going to send that to you, because if you just Googling things, it could come up. Wikipedia might tell you 1 year. Okay, but I'm going to send you that today, and I'm looking while I'm talking. I'm looking for it right now to show you all the requirements. But again, it's 10 and 5. I know that specifically because, again, we emphasize that at our annual training.
Okay, and by the way, Brother Wagner, I got half of that money that you told me I need to go to Montgomery and get.
Rude.
It came in the mail. So that's on the shower modification that for those who might not be aware of.
That lets me know.
Thanks again, brother.
That lets me know. That lets me know a little bit of the stuff I do know, the little knowledge and understanding I do know. It does work.
So Brother Hassan, can you go ahead and take 45 seconds and tell us what we got to check for?
Okay, so because I'm 100% disabled, I have trouble getting in the bathtub, and my balance is not that good. I was approved for a modification to have my bathtub turn into a walk-in shower. The amount is $6,800. You have to have someone come in and give you an estimate. You have to send a pre-picture of what it looks like before the conversion. And I received $4,400 in my checking account. And now, after the contractor finishes, I sign saying that the work is good. I'll get the other $4,800. It might cost more. You can make it as elaborate as you want to, but you're gonna get $6,800. So that's a nice, I guess,
it's a
payment towards.
It's a home improvement grant that VA assists any veteran that has service-connected conditions for lower back pain, knee pain, plantar fasciitis, flat feet, that they need if they have a tub and they can't lift, like Brother Hassan said, they're having issues lifting their legs and feet up into the tub. VA will have you go to I think it's physical therapy, and Brother Hassan had to show the physical therapist how he actually give him an example on how he tried to get into the tub. Once the physical therapy does that, he actually makes you walk about 10 feet. And then he is the first step of approving your home improvement grant, which is up to $6,800. And it's not for just walk-in showers. If you want to elevate your tub or elevate your sink, but it covers all of that, but it's only $6,800. So a lot of my veterans, their spouse, they might spend $10,000, but VA is only going to give you $6,800.
Got it. Thank you so much for sharing that, brothers. Next, thank you, Brother Wagner, for your knowledge once again.
Hey, Rod, I got a
Next,
quick question
okay,
for Mr. Wagner, Ms. Son. That's
go ahead.
that's still called the HIPAA grant, correct? Through prosthetics? Is that what the grant is called? I think it's called the HIPAA grant.
It used to be the HIPAA grant. Now, if you go into your e-benefits or what's the program? I'm getting a blank, but now they call it home improvement. I do know
Okay.
that.
And it's still a one-time benefit. It's only one time?
One time.
Okay.
One time. One shot, one
All
kill.
right. All right, thank you very much. At this time, we're going to have our resident expert here on Social Security benefits. She's out of Georgia. Her name is our attorney, Deborah Newsom. She's been given, this is her third time on. She comes on once a month at the beginning of the month and the first Thursday of the month, and she always gives us some great nuggets for Social Security, as well as creating what's that? Not a will, but a trust, creating trust for our families and putting our homes in trust and cars and things of that nature in those trust, things of value. So she's been giving us some great nuggets on that. And so at this time, I'm going to bring on Miss Newsom. You have the floor, Attorney Newsom.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me back again. I am Deborah Newsom, and I am the managing attorney of Newsom Law here in Atlanta, Georgia. I am the proud daughter of a 30-year Army veteran, and I'm grateful for your service. Newsom Law specializes in preserving assets and protecting families in death and disability. Our areas of practice include Social Security disability. Social Security is available to anyone who is unable to work because of a physical or mental disability that is expected to last for at least 12 months. That work is full-time work activity. We also focus our practice on estate planning. Estate planning includes the preparation of documents such as wills, trusts, power of attorneys, and healthcare directives. Lastly, we focus on probate. Probate is an area of the law that allows someone who has passed away with or without a will, but they've left behind assets such as homes, bank accounts, other types of property that heirs or beneficiaries need to get access to. Probate is the process that allows title to pass from the deceased person to the heir or the beneficiary. I'm open to take any questions that you may have. I am out of my office for the last couple of weeks on a working vacation. And so I'm a little bit out of sorts, but I'm going to try to do the best I can.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Attorney Newsom. Go ahead, Brother Thrower.
All right. Yes. I just wanted to. So yesterday I was on a call with some brothers, and one individual actually works for the VA, and he put out some information that I knew to be absolutely wrong, and I wanted you to clarify this for the brothers here.
Wow.
Just because you're 100% PNT does not guarantee you Social Security disability. Can you explain that to them, Sister Newsom?
Yes, sir. Okay, tell me PNT. Are you post-traumatic stress? What is?
No, that was permanent and total. We have like 100%,
permanent and total. Okay.
Yeah.
See, the terminology is different as well because Social Security is very acronym driven as well. But yes, so Social Security and VA are two completely separate entities and have completely different definitions as it relates to disability. The Veterans Administration will give ratings partially 10, 20, 30% based on the person's actual level of severity. And you can also go back in the veterans system and you can have your disability rating upgraded based on new material, I guess, as it relates to how your service connected incident has impacted your life moving forward. With Social Security, the standard is very different. And even veterans who are 100% disabled, as as defined by the Veterans Administration, that doesn't have a lot of bearing, or actually none at all, on Social Security's evaluation of disability. Social Security is a 100% permanent disability for a 12-month period. And there are 5 criteria that you have to be able to establish in order to receive benefits. The first one is you have to have a severe impairment. That would be, any medical, mental or physical, or combination of both impairments. The first is you can't work, and you can't do any type of work activity. No substantial gain for work activity, which is defined as a 40-hour work week. The second one is you can't have a severe impairment. You must have a severe impairment. The third criteria is it meets or equals a list of criteria that's been determined by Social Security as disabling. Social Security has hundreds of conditions where if you can establish this level of severity, then you will be found disabled. The fourth criteria is you can't perform any of your past relevant work. That means work you've done in the last 15 years. And then the final criteria that you have to get over is that you're unable to perform any work that exists in the national economy. And so that is the most difficult for anyone, because they consider your age, your education, and your past relevant work, any skills that you've garnered from that work activity. And then then there's an expert who determines whether or not, based on the information you provided about past work, and the severity of the limitations that are established, whether you are able to perform any work that exists.
All right, thank you so much, Attorney Newsome, for explaining that. Colonel Napoleon, you have the floor. You're on mute if you're trying to speak, Colonel Napoleon. You have the floor. Okay, so maybe he stepped away. Are there any other questions for Attorney Newsome? Any other questions? Now, Attorney Newsome, you mentioned, these qualifications. What is the current age when we actually get it without having to qualify for any of this stuff?
The current age that you're entitled to your Social Security depends on when you were born. And so if you guys, if you're not getting your Social Security statement, which generally, if you work a W-2 position, at any W-2 position, you've worked, they will send you a statement every few years, and it indicates your disability amount and your retirement amount and when you'll be eligible. So if you were born in 62, for full retirement, I think the age is 67 years old. But if you, their portion and disability retirement is very different from Social Security disability. Social Security disability is a program that's available to workers who can't work because of their disability. Retirement is based on money that has been taken out of your W-2 income, or you've paid into the system if you're a business owner, and you've paid into the system over years, and then that money has accumulated. And once you reach a certain age, you're entitled to 100% retirement. That those amounts differ significantly based on your age. So but it all is determined by the year of birth.
Okay, so with that, okay, I'm 54 years old, and mine basically says, I think, age 67. So in 13 years, I will be eligible, and I would get about $3,400 a month. So you're saying then that if I were to go Social Security disability now, or at age 60 or what have you, that's a total, they're not even looking at how much money I put in. That's a whole separate fund, is what you're saying?
It's not a separate fund. It's just that if a worker, meaning someone who's of the working age, they become disabled, then the disability amount is higher than the retirement amount. For whatever, I don't know why that is, but that's just, if you examine your statements, and if you're not getting a statement, go to ssa.gov, click on the disability section, and you can sign up to get, I'm sorry, y'all, give me 1 second. My battery's running low. Give me 1 second. Sorry.
And
Hey, brother Cunningham, just so you know, while she's doing that, we have the sixth district military affairs chairman, Johnny Richardson, that is on. And also to introduce to others, Deontay Williams, who talked earlier, is our new undergrad military affairs rep.
Gotcha. Okay, so while we have Ms. Newsom, I'm gonna let her finish, and I'm gonna go back and introduce them, and then I'm gonna bring on Ms. Jackson. So Colonel Napoleon, he's looked like you're off of mute. You want to go ahead and say something?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much, all. Ms. Newsom, I'd just like to have your phone number, and Mr. Campbell, I didn't get your number also, so I just want to get those two numbers. That's all I need.
Okay, yes, sir. I will put my information in the chat.
Awesome, thank you. Mr. Scott, you have the floor. Eugene Scott? Looked like you were trying to speak.
No, I'm sorry.
You good? Okay, so any other questions for Ms. Newsom before we have Brother Richardson and Brother Williams introduce themselves? Any other questions for Ms. Newsom? If you have some questions later on, she normally will hang out about 20 minutes after we end, which will be 2 p.m. Eastern. She normally hangs out about 2:20, 2:30. I don't know if she can today, but if you have further questions, you can ask them if you want to hang out with us and ask after the call is over. With that, if there's no more questions, I mean, if you have a question, raise your hand now.
I just posted everybody's contacts.
Oh, you did? Okay, great, awesome. So everybody's contact.
Ms. Jackson's and Newsom's.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so at this time, we're going to have Brother Johnny Richardson, who's the 6th District Military Affairs Chairman. So Brother Richardson, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, brothers. Thank you for inviting me to this Faith and Wellness virtual summit. I'm coming from the 6th District. My name is Johnny Richardson Jr. I was initiated Pi Phi Chapter Spring 1982. Currently in Pi Phi Chapter right now here in Charlotte, North Carolina, which just hosted the Grand Conclave. This is great information. I did come in late. I did have one question. I don't know if she mentioned it. Did she bring up anything about the Camp Lejeune act that's going on?
Are you familiar with that, Ms. Newsom, Camp Lejeune Act?
I actually just read something on it briefly the other day. And to my knowledge, I just skimmed it. But apparently there's a time period, and I don't want to say what it is because I don't remember exactly, but there was some contaminated water on Camp Lejeune that has caused a number of different problems, medical issues, and there are, I am familiar with a firm, that's actually how I got the information, who is representing anybody who's been affected by, if they can connect pretty much your being at Camp Lejeune during the time frame, and I can get you that information, but I just can't remember off the top of my head, to any type of illness, any of the illnesses. It's about 6 different types of diseases. Then there is compensation that is potentially available for anyone who's been affected by that.
Yes,
is that what you're talking about?
Ms. Newsom, you're an attorney, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And what I was introduced to come on this virtual is our partnership and sharing information from district to district and bringing everybody up to date. I will if I can get your information, I will share this with another attorney in North Carolina that y'all can collectively share this information, so you will have it, and any information that you will have, you can share it with him. He's currently, Mr. Edwards is an Annapolis graduate out of the U.S. Naval Academy, and he's an attorney here in Charlotte, and he's part of the Market Point Marine Association, which I'm also involved in as well. And he gave a presentation this past Monday I was on in reference to the Camp Lejeune Act, and he has tremendous information in reference to this. And like I said, we are here to share information, to partner with each other, to bring us up to speed, that everybody be on the same page, that we all know exactly what's going on, to help family, friends, and all veterans, active duty and veterans. And that is our goal, basically, for all military personnel and their families. But I appreciate the time, I appreciate the effort and the support that you are doing with the Military Affairs Committee down in the 7th District. Thank you, and I yield my time back.
Thank you, Brother Richardson, and we appreciate you being here on the call. Brother Deontay Williams, you have the floor. Are you there? You're on mute. There you go.
I want to say thank you to the panel and thank you guys for having me. Basically, I'm just like from an undergrad standpoint, is trying to basically understand, because there's a lot of things that us, I guess, currently in the military and us out processing in the military, there's a lot of things we don't know about, as well as like there's a lot of stuff I have read up and learned about ourselves, as well as like Mr. White was saying, things have changed, like the even 5-year thing. So a lot of things are still changing. So I basically just want to, by being an undergrad rep, by going to different schools that I already go to, basically just making sure like us brothers in the military are taken care of. So thank you guys.
All right. Thank you, Brother Williams. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. And are there any other questions for Attorney Newsome? Going once, going twice. All right. Thank you very much, Attorney Newsome. Please hang out with us again if you can. Yeah. Next, we're going to have someone's going to come on, Ms. Jackson, Ms. D'Amica Jackson is going to come on and talk about the Veterans Chamber of Commerce. She runs the Veterans Chamber of Commerce out of Jacksonville, Florida. And so she helps open up veteran chambers of commerce all over the nation. So if you are a business owner, veteran business owner, you want to go to the chamber to find out how you can get more business contracts and things of that nature, to connect with other veterans and to market your business. And so at this time, I'm going to bring on Ms. Jackson. Ms. Jackson, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you as always as having me. As Rod stated, my name is D'Amica Jackson, and I'm the founder and president of the Jacksonville Veterans Chamber of Commerce. Yes, we focus on business, but we also apply education, employment, and advocacy, which is something we definitely need with the different changes that are coming about for our veteran business owners. We not only service veterans, we also service transitioning military, their spouses, and dependents. So you are able, if you want to go from an idea to start to growth to acquisition to anything you would like to do pertaining to business, we have experts available within our network that can help you with that transition. We also help our veterans, if they are starting companies, they still got to work, right? And we know when they're coming out the military, sometimes they find these positions where they're only being offered $45,000. We have access to large corporations where the pay starts at 76 plus and goes into 6 figures. So we have direct access. We also make sure that we put out there about different educational opportunities. There's so much free education options out there for our veterans that we need to make sure they're getting the information, all the way from certifications to master degrees under $7,000 or even free. Right now, there's 2 master degrees being offered for free for the first 200 applications. If you want to get a master's in management or a master's in financial advising, I believe, and it's free. So there's so many different options for you all. And then of course, advocacy. If you are a veteran business owner, right now, the transition from certifying your organization will be changing from VA to the SBA. Right now, they are accepting comments because once that changeover occurs, they are looking to change the nomenclature of our certification. And what that means is right now, many of us are VOSBs or SDVOSBs, which simply means veteran-owned small business or special disabled veteran small business. They're looking to change that, which is going to kind of be a challenge because guess what? We already have documentation. It's all over our website, social media, all over the nation. They know us under those guidelines, and they're looking to change that to VOSBC and SDVOSBC. Don't ask me why. So right now we're able to have a hand in that. So that's where the advocacy comes into play, and we need to be vigilant. So if you need any information from us, we're more than willing to help. It's already been posted. And if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to oblige.
All right, so where my business owners at? Any business owners looking for more money, looking for, things like that, looking for training, information, growing your business? Mr. Kimball, you have the floor.
Yeah, the question I have, DLA has been kicking back my registration. When I contacted them, they stated that it's because Sam's had my physical address, my suite number on the first, it had it on the second line and not the first line. And so now I'm in the process getting SAMS.gov to put it on the first line. So it gets through the IRS approval, then it gets to DLA. So in your experience, once I make that change, because I called in, they was like, oh, we need a copy of the lease. I'm like, well, Sam's had already verified the address. So then that's the only reason why they said that they kicked it back. Have you seen any businesses that still had to submit leases?
Yes, unfortunately, I have. I have a few clients now that had the same issue that you have, and they had to submit it. But once they did that, they didn't have any other issues.
Okay, so I'm using currently that is a box at a UPS store. And then somebody said, well, just use your personal address, but I didn't want my personal address to be out there. So someone else that did contract I talked to a year ago, and they said, well, just put suite and just make that change. And they shouldn't ask for the lease because it's a UPS store, not an actual brick and mortar.
So the workaround, and I need to find out with the UPS store, but I go through the US Postal Service for mine. If you look at the very bottom, which a lot of us don't, there's a really small line that says you can pay an additional $5 to utilize their address. And that's what I use. I use the actual USPS address, and then it seems as if it's a suite underneath. And that actually worked.
So even though mine is set up at UPS, not USPS.
Right. Ask them the question if you can pay the additional and utilize their street address.
UPS.
Correct. And that will clarify that. And
Okay.
And it is legal, everyone. And that's how you do the workaround.
Okay. So it'll show up different when it gets to DLA.
Correct.
On USPS website.
Yes, and what it'll just look as if that's actually your business address. And there's nothing that you're doing incorrectly. It's just that you're utilizing the physical address as opposed to just the PO box or just the box.
Okay.
Yep. And just ask them, is usually $5 additional.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And for you other entrepreneurs out there who may be looking at some commercial property, maybe an office space, have a bunch of desks in there, and then charge $300 a month or $100 a month or something, and put a suite number on that desk. And now you can have all of these veterans who can utilize your physical address, maybe even your warehouse if you have one, and then offer that to veteran business owners so that they can do work with contractors. So I just gave you that business idea. If you don't have one, there it is. All right. So do your homework. Don't say Rod told you. do your homework
And
and make sure you're gonna make some money off of that.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Rob, because they're actually funding to do like an incubator to have shared space. So there actually is funding for that. So that's just FYI.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And I will tell you, Ms. Jackson is the one who told me about the VRAP program, the Veterans Re-Education Program or what have you, where I was able to go and get a master's certificate in project management for free. And they gave me $700 a month while I was getting it. And so she's a wealth of knowledge. So make sure that you take her information, go to her website and things of that nature. Any other questions for Ms. Jackson? I know Brother Thrower had a question, but he stepped away. Ms. Jackson, while we don't have any questions at the moment, can you go ahead and share some of the other services that you do or that you offer outside of the chamber?
Yes, definitely so.
No, go ahead, share with us. No, go ahead and tell us what else you do.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Well, I also have a company called Reinvent You, where we provide professional training, strategic planning, and we do help you get into the supplier diversity field, help you out so that you won't have as many hiccups, because there's a lot of information out there. So we provide that. That's a for-profit business. That's not a nonprofit. Make sure to get that clear. I also have a publishing company, and I just signed my first person yesterday for a book, which is great, a veteran. Also, that's wonderful. And
so you're a ghostwriter, you're saying?
No, I have a team. I have a team. I am the editor-in-chief, but I have a whole team that runs my publishing company. Yes, Rod, I know you always find out something new about me. And I have a magazine that's also going to be coming out under that within the next 2 months. Again, I am well versed, especially within the supplier diversity arena. So if you are looking to get into contracting, please reach out to me, because even if you don't want to pay my company, I still will give you enough information so you know where to look for free. Always utilize free before you go and have to pay individuals to assist you. There's a lot of money out here for our businesses to get involved with contracts at local, state, and federal level. Do not miss out. If you want to get involved right now, they are looking for more individuals, more small business owners in the professional services arena. So if you have professional services, there's a shortage right now when it comes to government contract holders. So they're looking for these businesses, but you got to make sure you are visible. We got to know where to find you. We have a database that you can add your company, your products and services, and it goes across to 29 other veteran chambers of commerce. So when these large corporations are contacting us, guess what we do? We go in our database and we say, okay, these are the companies that provide those services or products, and we send them your information. So make sure you are linking up with these veteran chambers as well as your local chambers of commerce, because I'm telling you, there's too much money out here for you not to have a hand in it. And get yourself prepared. If you are not trending in what's coming, you need to know what's about to come up. If you're not involved in AI technology, you might want to do some research, hint, hint, because it will take you to the next level.
All right, you can't just leave us hanging on AI technology. So where's that website that we need to go to figure out what's going on with AI and how do we get in the game?
I will send you all those links. Go get the free education. I'll send you because there's a whole page, Rod. And if you have everyone's information, you can send it out to them. Utilize the free courses, learn about AI technology and how you can incorporate that in your business, because there's a lot of funding coming down right now. Within the next 5 years, it's going to take off. And I don't mean millions, I mean billions.
All right, y'all heard it first right here. Get in to learn about AI technology, see where you fit in, and get some of them billions. All right, brother, Mr. Kimball, you have the floor.
Yes, the question I had, because I'm certified to do business with the city of Tampa, the state of Florida, and Hillsborough County. But every time I go to that board, the services I provide are not on there. So when I get to the federal side and I get through that process, I know you said you had a directory, but what if there's not something or organization out there not looking for my services, but they may need some of the services, their employees may need some of the services? How do you go about doing it when the services are not listed, for example?
You still want to reach out to that point of contact. So every organization has one. You still want them to know, still get in their system. You still want to go ahead and make that introduction, send them an email to let them know these are the services you provide. Because although they may not need them right now, they will one day. And there are over 75 different government entities that do business with small business owners. When people go on SAM, they look at the major ones, but not all of them utilize SAMs. But they don't tell you that. So that's one of the things that we kind of assist with maneuvering to help you to see all the different sites they utilize to find small business owners. As well as on your state level, don't always look at just using the government entities. Go to these private organizations and companies. They're looking to work with small business owners as well. That's who they use as vendors. So when you're looking in Tampa, when you're looking around the state, you want to go and start meeting with these private company owners. They don't always post it, but if you go on their website, you can find the point of contact that deals with their vendors. Contact them either by email or set up a meeting. And it'll be worth it in the long run. But they don't advertise it. You have to go find them.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Are there any other questions for Ms. Jackson? Going once? Going twice? All right. Thank you, Ms. Jackson, once again, for gracing us with your presence and your knowledge. Her information is in the chat if you would like to reach out to her. If you're interested in starting your very own Chamber of Commerce for your city, that can help veterans when it comes to homelessness, real estate, all kinds of things, opening your own business, small business administration, and areas like that, please reach out to Ms. Jackson because she can help you start your own chamber. All right, so with that, we're going to move over to the emotional wellness message. And so I guess I'll take that one. So what we're going to talk about today is the 7 F's. Anytime I'm a motivational speaker as well as a life coach focusing in on building emotional strength. And so when I'm talking to my clients, we always are looking to provide balance in our lives in the 7 F's. And so if you have something to write with, you want to definitely write this down, the 7 F's, get your pens out. The first F is faith, family, finances, fitness, friendships, fun, and frequency. So we have to find balance. That means some of us are having a whole lot of fun, but our family is, we're a little raggedy in the family area. Some of us have strong faith, but we're a little raggedy in the finance area. Some of us have strong family, but we're a little raggedy in the fitness area. So we want to make sure that we're paying attention to all of those areas, because a lot of us think that we can't have it all. That's the voice of the enemy. We really can have it all, but we have to do the work to get it all, because there's things that happen in our lives that make us doubt that we can have it all. Because we've dealt with parental abandonment, we've dealt with loss and grief of loved ones, we've dealt with trauma, and we've dealt with rejection. But those things are all things that we couldn't control, and that's why it bothers us so much, because our brains can't really understand why. Why would you die on me? Why would you lie on me? Why would you fire me? Why would you leave me? Why would you cheat on me? And so we get stuck in the why, And sometimes it makes us seek comfort in the why, seek comfort in fun, right? Seek comfort in faith, seek comfort in family. Sometimes we seek comfort in alcohol, we seek comfort in marijuana, we seek comfort in punching people in the face, we seek comfort in cheating on our spouse, we seek comfort in gambling, going to the club. You know, we seek comfort in many of these things, which not only hurt us, but it hurts our legacy, hurts our children, and then their children. And so the F I'm going to speak about over the next 5 minutes is going to be the frequency F. What is frequency? We've heard the term vibration, right? Are we in a good frequency? Are we in a good vibration? Every day when my wife and I, when we wake up, we're always checking each other's frequency by doing a simple good morning. Good morning. Uh-oh, her frequency is low, right? Okay, so what do I need to do to help my wife lift her frequency? Now, early on in my relationship, I'll be like, I gotta go to work, she'll be all right. Right? How many of us done that? I ain't got time to be checking on her right now. She'll be all right. She's just tripping. Right? But as you mature, you start to figure out that, wait a minute, I'm 100% invested in this relationship, not 50%, because if I'm 50% invested, that means that when it's not working, it's her 50%, not my 50%. But if I'm 100% invested in this relationship, then I want both of our frequencies to be at a 10 at all costs. So how do we keep our frequency at a 10? Everybody wakes up and don't feel like themselves. And then their spouse wakes up at a 10. And you're like, yeah, you just kind of moseying on along, and your spouse comes up, you all right? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just, in that little mellow mood. But when you're dialed into each other and you communicate your frequency and what raises your frequency, your spouse then can remind you, first of all, how great you are, how wonderful you are, the king or queen that you are, the accomplishments that you have made. Your spouse can remind you of that, and also remind you of what raises your vibration or your energy or your frequency. For me, what raises my frequency, I call it self-care. I put on my gospel music and I get in my office, close the door, and start singing. Immediately, my frequency is raised just from singing and praising right here at my desk. If I get out and take a walk around the neighborhood, frequency, get down and do some push-ups, and I got my home gym, go in there and work out, my frequency is instantly raised. So guess what? What if I did all those things every morning? It's like I'm almost guaranteed to have a high frequency, because instead of going, oh, I'm down, so let me go and run, let me go and swim, let me go and garden, let me go and do yoga, let me go and get a massage, whatever that is that lifts your frequency. Instead of doing it here and there, do it every day. So that when you walk out of the house, you walk out with the full armor of God, protected with high energy, because when you have a high frequency, people are attracted to you and you're attracted to people. People will come up to you in the store and go, who are you? I just saw you walk in. You just seem so confident. You just seem so lively. Man, I just wanted to can I get your card? They just want to know who you are, because your frequency is attractive. It is attracting other people. People come up to offer you jobs. I got offered a job one time from the chief of police of St. Pete. I met him he offered me a job within 2 minutes of meeting me because of my high energy. He said, who are you? What do you do? I said, I just retired from the Air Force. What did you do? I said, communication. He said, I got a job for you. I got a job for you. That was because my frequency is high and people are attracted to that. Ever walk up to somebody with a low frequency? Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I'm going through a divorce, man. I've just, my wife, she just, you know, she just be tripping, man. She done took the kids. She won't let me see the kids. You be like, it was nice meeting you. You take care, because you're bringing my frequency down just to be here with you. I got to go so I can stay up. I remember 4th of July. My frequency was low. We had just come off a cruise. I was kind of in that mellow mood. And we're getting ready to go with some friends, another couple, out to the 4th of July celebration. And I'm kind of walking around in chill mode. My wife is looking like, what is wrong with you? But she didn't say anything because we had company. And she wasn't understanding why my frequency was kind of mellow and hers was up here. So because she couldn't send a smoke signal to say, Rod, your frequency is off, she just stayed where she was here. As we were driving, her frequency started to drop into mine. By the time she got out of the car, she had an attitude. I'm like, what I do? You been acting funny. After they were walking ahead, I'm trying to hold my wife's hand. She's like, I said, whoa, you don't never move your hand from mine. What's going on? You've been acting funny. I ain't been acting funny. Well, yeah, you have. Your frequency is low. I say, but don't come down to mine. Bring me up to yours. Don't come down to my level. I need you to keep me up. Well, we had company. I ain't want to say nothing. I would rather you say, honey, your frequency is a little low. You okay? Then to come down and then we do this. Why you? What's wrong with you? Nothing. It is something wrong with you. And then boom, boom, boom. So stay up, ladies and gentlemen. Keep a high frequency. You do that by doing things that you enjoy, doing things that raises your frequency, the massage, the working out, the taking a walk, the reading your word, whatever that is, your spiritual, listening to some spiritual music, or listening to TD Jakes or Joe Osteen, or somebody to lift your spirits. Stay up. Don't ever come down to meet anybody. You stay up where you are, and you bring them up to you. All right, that is your mental health, emotional wellness message for today. At this time, it is 1:44, and then we're going to open up to any other questions at all for any of our panelists, anything that you heard today. The floor is open. Anyone? Okay, so at this time, I see there's a Champ on the line. Champ, can you come on and tell us who you are? And welcome to the call. Champ is on the line.
Greetings, everyone. My name is actually, my name is really Wilbert Fair, but I am Champ Fair. I bring you greetings from Fort area. I actually live in Fort Mitchell, retired and actually working here with the first SFAB as a safety officer. And it's just a pleasure being in the midst of you all today. And I'm actually currently serving as the bosses of Landamere New Chapter of Phoenix City.
All right, well, welcome, Champ, and let us know if there's anything we can do for you. I am the Military Affairs Chair for the state of Florida. We also have Brother Wesley Thrower. He's the Military Affairs Chair for the state of Georgia. It looks like Brother Lovejoy, he was on. He's the Military Affairs Chair for the state of Alabama. And then we have Brother Shoemaker, who is the Military Affairs Chairman for the state of Mississippi, which makes up the 7th District of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. And we're all close, and we all are looking out for the veterans the best we can. We have Mr. Kimball on the line. He happens to be from a different fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma, but he happens to be a smart guy. He happens to be our expert on veterans and claims, so that's why we keep having him and bringing him back. And then we have Brother Lamar Wagner. He has dropped the line, but he is also our resident expert as a veteran disability and claims expert, and he focuses as well on families and children. And
yes,
we also
we're in the same chapter.
Oh, okay, awesome, awesome. We have Mr. Mika Jackson on the line, and who's a expert at in her field of helping veterans start their own businesses. She also has the Veterans Chamber of Commerce. We have attorney Deborah Newsom on the line. She's always bringing all of this this law information from Social Security, disability, educating us that way, and also on wills and trusts and probate. And so she brings that information to us as well, because what we found and what she's found is African Americans, we keep dying without a trust, without a will. We have to go to probate to get that $5,000 that grandpa had in his bank account, and we got to pay her $2,000 to get the $5,000, right? And all grandpa had to do was create a little, $500 trust, and he could have had that bank account in there, and we could have easily went in and got that $5K. But no, we don't do right, and it's just because we don't know. We don't know what we don't know, and then we don't know how important it is. And Ms. Newsom has been coming back month after month to help us understand that. Ms. Newsom, go ahead. You're on mute.
I'm sorry, my internet froze. You're in Florida, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in the great state of Florida, down here in Fort Lauderdale. I don't know what's going on, but you froze for a minute. So you were asking,
I froze to everybody?
I don't know. Could have been just me.
Okay, all right. So Ms. Newsom, I was singing your praises. So why don't you go ahead and tell us about some trust. And oh, no, I like what you tell us about the second wife. So go there. Go there.
Okay, so as it relates to probate, something that you guys need to understand, and I don't know that I was fully well versed in it. I think you don't really know about it until it affects your family, and then you live through it and you're like, well, what in the world is going on? So if you have a will, people think that, I'm good, I got a will. Well, you are good to a degree, but if you have a will, that will has to be probated. Probate is a judicial process that involves the courts. So when you have a will, it means that you've decided where you're going to distribute your assets. But in order to have, if it's real property, if it's bank accounts that aren't previously titled in a certain way, then yes, you have to go through the probate process. The average cost of probate is about $3,500 or more, depending on what your asset base is like. But it's a deal. You have to file a petition. That would be the person who's going to be the administrator or the executor of the estate. It's an executor if there's a will. You're an administrator if there is no will. And somebody has to pay that money. So say for instance, your mom passes away. She has a house. She didn't have a will, or she had a will, doesn't matter. That house is not in your name. So you can't sell the house. You can't take a mortgage out on the house. You can't do nothing, nor can you touch your bank accounts. So there's a process that allows you to touch those assets. And that process is called probate. And so you either going to pay on the front end or you're going to pay on the back end. The other advantage to, putting your items in a trust, and the only reason I lean towards a trust is because of it's personal for me, because my father was 30 years military, very disciplined, very well-versed in his finances. He took very good care of his family, despite the fact that, he became disabled when I was 13. When my father passed away, he wanted to have our distributions made every 7 years, because he felt like, in 7 years, incrementally, this was his mind, which he's right. I agree. You grow, you run through X amount of dollars and you're like, well, what happened to my money? And you're like, in 7 years, when you get another little disbursement, you're a little wiser, you make better decisions. And so that was his plan, to do that until all of his assets were exhausted. Well, that he did in a will. Well, I never got the distributions that he had planned for me because it takes a human being to carry those wishes out. And, human beings, human faculties. So I never got to get the benefit of my inheritance. If that would have been put into a trust, then it would have been a different situation. And it would have been a different level of protection around the trust. And so people say when I give my presentation, I've had, well, trust is more expensive and you lean towards a trust, but it's personal for me. And so I just want everybody to be protected, especially if you have a couple $2, to rub together. You worked for that and you don't want it not going to the place that you intended it to go because some human person decides that while, they may be doing fine and the person you select to be your executor, may be very well off or whatever, but we lose jobs, life happens, things change. And what the person who is otherwise the upstanding individual in your family or your best friend or whatever, well, they might get caught between a rock and a hard place and they may make some decisions that you wouldn't necessarily approve of with your assets.
Now,
make
sure you don't miss the second wife thing and the second insurance policy or something you got to set up for the new wife.
Okay, so
set up for the old wife. So give us that too.
Okay, so we have situations. I was telling them about some clients that I have, and the father and mother were married. They had 2 children of the marriage. The first wife passed away. And dad got married again. And dad was married to his second wife for 10 years. So when dad passed away, dad had a will. And now the home that the first and the second wife lived in, what was his home and the home that his kids grew up in, adult children. So dad passed away and the adult children are like, well, what are our rights? What rights does she have to our home? Because my dad gave her, essentially didn't really leave her anything in the will. He basically kind of passed everything to his kids. Well, in the state of Georgia, anyway, there is a right that a surviving spouse has to inherit from the estate. And they don't have to pursue that right, but they have it. It exists. So what I was explaining to my clients was the second wife, she has the right to make a claim against the estate for a year's support. It's called a year's support. And how it's determined in terms of the finances is the life in which she had grown accustomed to. So this my client's father, who's a retired, man who had worked his whole life. And, they had a decent lifestyle. He didn't have a whole lot of assets, but he had a house. And lots of times judges will, give the house or part of the house to the second wife in order to kind of, I say cash her out. That's not a legal term, but it's to give her something, right? And they are super concerned and stressed about, the fact that this is their family home. And I said, well, you can buy her out, but she does have no less than a 1/3 interest in his estate. And if she claims that right, she hasn't to this point, but if she does, then it's very likely, because legally there's not a whole lot we can do. We can say what the kids have done to take care of her. She has lived in the house for almost a year, pretty soon coming up on a year. There are arguments that we can put forth, but more than likely, it is very likely that she's going to get, the 1/3 of his estate. So that is not necessarily the ideal situation that you want to happen to you. And, all in all, through my probate practice, and again, probate deals with when you don't have a will and when you have a will. And I'm just seeing catastrophe after catastrophe. And it's like, I see people who take control of estates and they start doing things in the name of the executor when they create different wills. I mean, it's just I could tell you some horror stories. And it's just disconcerting. It just is.
Thank you for sharing that, Attorney Newsome. I also had a situation with a friend of mine. He was married to his wife for 2 years. He was 56 years old, and he passed away suddenly. And when he passed away suddenly, when they went to look for his insurance policy, it was to his first wife. And he had been married. He already had 2 other wives since his first wife. So, but the policy went straight to her. So the grieving widow of 2 years didn't get anything. She had to figure out how to bury, had to go to his family for help to bury him.
And that's the thing with, you know, these see, some things pass outside of our wills, and insurance policies are contracts with the insurance company. And so that doesn't involve probate, or you can put an insurance policy in a will, I mean, in a trust if you'd like, as the beneficiary, but the beneficiary of that contract gets the money. And if you don't keep your documents up to date, then the money is going to wherever you've contracted with the insurance company for it to go. And it doesn't matter that you can't bury them.
And you know, some people understand, well, she's the one that had his 3 boys, right? So, you know, they were all grown, but, you know, but she's the one that had his 3 boys. So yeah, okay, she gets a policy, but well, what about the policy? Once you marry again, you need to create another policy for your current wife, is what I've learned in this situation. Not take away from the first one, because you were married to her for 25 years, but the second wife needs a policy as well. Ms. Jackson, you look like you have something. And then we're going to go ahead and pray. We're going to have benediction.
It was just a comment, Rod. I was saying thank you for people who are looking to get married again one day. So now I know what to look for. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Give me a call. We got to talk.
I definitely will.
All right, Brother Wesley Thrower, can you pray us out of this wonderful meeting today, brother? We appreciate you.
I sure would be an honor. Father God, we just thank you for this awesome chance to come together in fellowship, Father God. We ask you that you continue to watch over us, continue to keep us safe, as even though we are together here on our screens and on our phones, that we are far apart from each other. So keep each other safe, keep each other in our hearts and prayers. We ask you that you bless each and every individual, that you keep us the wisdom that has been passed out here, that it is taken in and being attended to in our hearts and our minds, so that we can apply this knowledge in our lives to help make our lives better, keep our families safe, and make a difference in veterans that we know. This we say in your most awesome name, in the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen and amen. See you next month, the first Thursday of the month. Bring a friend. Let's get this information out in the hands of our veterans who need it. God bless, and we'll see you on the first of the month. If anybody wants to hang out, ask Ms. Newsome a couple of questions. We're going to keep the lines open for about 30 more minutes. If you want to ask Ms. Jackson any questions, you want to make any comments, you're welcome to hang out and do so. Other than that, we'll see you on the first Thursday of the month at noon. Take care. Bye-bye.
There was a question about the recording. It will be available. He'll send it out on the next invitation, if not soon.
I am going to have to jump off, guys, because I'm in South Florida. I'm here with my godmother, and I've got to get her lunch because she had surgery. I'm sorry, but you know, you guys can always call me, email me. Good to see everybody, and thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Deborah, give me a call when you get situated sometime this weekend, if you can. I got to talk to you about the Atlanta chamber and this one.
Yes, ma'am, I will. I know that I've been moving, and so that's
you're fine.
I'm gonna make time. Yes,
fine.
Yes.
I want to partner with you on something. So yeah, give me a call.
Okay, I will go to my email and we'll talk tomorrow.
Perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.